All right, it's Nigel from X103 here backstage with the guys from 21 Pilots, Tyler and Josh. And I first of all, before we get started, I want to thank you because I want to thank you for writing the song "The Run and Go" because it's been in my head for the past 3 weeks incessantly, and my wife, it's starting to drive my wife a little nuts. It's a great song, don't get me wrong, but like I'm unloading the dishwasher. Doot 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 doot. 37-year-old man doing the laundry. Doot 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 doot. My wife, if she could be here, she would thank you.
Well, I want to thank you for liking that type of song. It's funny, The House of Gold is a song that I wrote, with my mom in mind. But The Run and Go is still her favorite one off of the album. It's not even about you, Mom. Come on.
Well, let's talk about House of Gold for a while. X103's been playing the hell out of it. I've watched the video, and I'm still a little shaken, confused by the video. I'm sure you're getting that reaction. I'm struggling to come up with a meaning for the video. I want there to be meaning. Josh, do you have a explanation for the video? I'm a little scarred by it, actually.
It's I think that we try and find really meaning in everything that we do. And so the video, it's kind of like, I think first of all, it's kind of like a really happy, like poppy sounding song. And if you think of like a video to go along with it, then most people are probably going to think of like a happy sounding video with like, us hugging our moms, or like,
the ukulele is in there.
Yeah, or like just kind of like a, I think people think very literally about like what a video would be, and so that was like a little bit harder, I think, to even come up with a concept for video, just because it's a short song, it's ukulele, it's pop, so having an idea of kind of like a darker feel of a video was kind of cool to us because it didn't really match. And I think that just, it's like trying to just...
You guys are chopped in half. You guys are, there's blood in the video. There's guts. You're find a very unique use for a kick drum, right?
Yeah. Half my body is kicking. It's a little bit gory, but it's, I guess when you think of a meaning or a concept behind it, which I think it's important to have a meaning for everything. You think of family or loved ones or even friends that... The term that you hear all the time, like, oh yeah, this is my best friend, I would die for him. I would, easily take a bullet for him. And it's easy to kind of throw that phrase around, and it might actually even be easy to actually do when the time comes. But actually, on the other side of things, we were talking about it and just kind of like how we're on the road a lot and our family's at home, and those loved ones are at home, and we say that we would die for them, but it's actually a little bit more challenging to live for them. And so throughout the video, it's kind of we're cut in half, but we're still alive. So it's kind of this real struggle of trying to live for someone that you love and you care about.
Was the like the setting, like the field and the house, is that all green screen, or was that like a real place?
That was real. That was just someplace out in California, kind of like off kind of away from the city of LA, but it was like I think we woke up at like 5 a.m. and drove like an hour and a half and out into some kind of like really cool field. It was beautiful.
One of the questions, we're here with 21 Pilots, Tyler and Josh, and the question I have for you guys is, like, back when I grew up, I'm 37, so I'm a little bit older than you guys, but the bands always said, the bands that I read about, the bands that I loved, they said, we gotta move to Los Angeles to make it. We've got to move to Nashville. You guys didn't do that, did you? You guys made it in Columbus, right? Am I wrong about that?
No, yeah, we thought, well, there's so many bands out there, and they're all moving to different towns and cities that are supposedly help you get discovered. But we decided to do something. It's not totally different, but it was different than a lot of the bands that we knew of. And we decided to focus on our hometown of Columbus, Ohio, and we kind of built a following there, and we strategically played around the state of Ohio in different pockets, and we played it right, I think, to the point where there was still a demand for a show. We didn't overdo it. We didn't oversaturate our hometown, and every time that we did play, there was something new and refreshing about the show. So we worked really hard on that until we were able to sell out some bigger venues in our state, and that's kind of that our first batch of fans and supporters were the reason why we got the music industry's attention, and that feels good because it feels authentic.
So, I mean, Columbus is only about, 5 hours away from Indy? Do you have any fans or family here tonight, or is it 5 hours is a little far? I mean, it's not. Do you guys have anybody here?
I have a family member coming that I've never met before. I found out, so.
Well, I bet you guys have a lot of those coming out of the woodworks. I'm sure it's not like, hey, all of a sudden I've got a second cousin that's famous. Probably that's not that type of situation, but. Yeah. Would you say it's close?
Oh yeah, there's definitely some Facebook messages from long lost family members that have been coming in. It's been fun.
Yeah, we're here with Tyler and Josh from 21 Pilots. Vessel is the album. And I wanted to ask you about the cover. And I'm not going to ask you about the name. I know the story behind the name. I'm sure you've been asked about it 10,000 times. The cover's much more interesting to me than the name, though, because it's your grandfathers, right? The two old dudes on the cover are your grandparents, right?
Yeah, it's my dad's dad and Josh's dad's dad. So our grandpa's on our father's side. And one, we'd never seen a couple of grandparents on a CD cover before, and we thought that would be interesting. It's kind of cool. We just brought them in for a photo shoot and had them stand there wearing the same clothes that they would wear every day. Don't even think twice about it. They probably don't remember much of what was going on at the time. But the CD's called Vessel, and you think about that word, you think of a container that's carrying something more important. And and not to get too dramatic about it, but our bodies are going to fade away. That vessel that is carrying something that's more important is going to get older and break down. And I think that what's inside of that vessel, the important thing, like the message, is something that we're reminded of when we see our grandfathers who have gone before us living and carrying around their message and their story. And it's similar to a song, a CD and a band and a live performance is all a vessel for a message that can be found inside of a song that hopefully lives longer than we do. And so that's kind of why we wanted to commemorate them and do that. So.
Right on 21 Pilots tonight at the old Deluxe Room at the old National Center. I have a feeling you guys seem like you bust your butts, like especially not moving from to Nashville or not moving to California. You have to maybe play some gigs that you feel like you didn't fit in. Did you ever have to play some festivals where you're like, what am I doing here? But does that have to happen? I mean, you take any gig anywhere, anytime when you're coming up, right? Yes. Not now necessarily, but in the beginning.
Well, yeah, in the beginning, especially, it's first it started just like how do you get a show? I guess when you're starting as a band, how do you even get a show? And you're lucky to play like once a month, maybe. And then for a little while, we had a friend of ours who was in college, and he wants to book shows for a living. So he was doing that for a while, but nobody really knew where to put us, what kind of shows to put us on or anything like that. And so we'd play all sorts of different things, and rock, like heavy metal, to hip hop, to like rock, and I don't know if we really fit into any of those, but I guess that was kind of cool for us to not fit.
I think what was cool for us is that we took something from each scene that we played in. The hardcore scene has a way of going about their show that we adopted a lot of things. The hip hop scene has some elements, and the EDM world has some elements too. And it's kind of cool. We were writing songs that didn't necessarily fit, but every audience really respected what we were doing because we were working for them, and that's where you realize everyone's the same. They just want to be appreciated that they're there at the show. So it worked out.
Cool. About ready to wrap it up here backstage before the show tonight with 21 Pilots. Who, Josh, you're doing the backflips, right? Is that your specialty, the acrobatics? Because I could imagine the label and the management, and could we get a dramatic shot, by the way, here real quick? The dramatic. Yeah, thank you. Michael, the tour manager here, is. Are you? Has anybody said anything to you like, hey, maybe we shouldn't, because you break your leg, Josh. That's no more kick drums for about 3 months.
I've gotten in a lot less trouble than Tyler because Tyler will climb things, and since he's the lead singer, he's way more valuable. And I think that he's kind of really the only one that they care about. So they're like, dude, you can do whatever you want when it comes to me. If you break your leg, it's fine.
All right, 21 Pilots tonight at the Deluxe Room at the Old National Center. We've been playing the hell out of House of Gold on X103. Welcome back to Indianapolis, guys. And, you know, 2 big returns tonight. 21 Pilots returning to Indy tonight, and then Peyton Manning and the Broncos tomorrow night with the Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium. It's Nigel with X103. Guys, thanks for taking the time to hang out with us tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
She asked me somewhere.